And this title covers both reasons why people, there are only two reasons, two main reasons. Underneath there are many, many thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands of reasons. But there are two main reasons why people go astray, they end up on the wrong path. And they are ash-shahawat wa-shubuhat. Shahawat are your desires when you really want to do something and you know it's wrong, but you really want to do it anyway. The issue is not that you don't know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. If somebody said to you, this is wrong, you would say, Wallahi, sadaqt, you told me the truth. It is wrong. I know it's wrong. But you know, I need to do this. I have to do this. I want to do this. Let me do it and then I'm going to repent. But the person knows it's wrong. The other problem is a bigger problem. And it is the problem of ash-shubuhat. The person gets confused, or she gets confused, and they think what they're doing is okay, or somebody told them, somebody whispered into their ear that it's okay, it's not that wrong, it's not actually haram, brother, it's makruh, it's disliked. Or it's not haram unless you do this. And so the person ends up doing the haram, not because they know it's wrong and they just do it anyway, but the person ends up doing the haram because they get confused and mixed up. And they start thinking that it's not haram, or it's not that bad, or it's not a major sin, or it's not, Allah's not going to punish me because of it, and they mix themselves up, or they get mixed up by other people. And since we're living in a time of fake news, and by fake news I don't mean the famous thing people tweeting about all the time, but I mean fake news, Islamic fake news, where people bring you information and share ahadith and ayat and things with you on social media, and they interpret it, they explain it to you in the wrong way. And they write at the bottom, Rawahul Bukhari, Bukhari narrated it. And you think that this is reliable and authentic knowledge. And you spread it out to people and you yourself act upon it, but you get mixed up because of it. People only go wrong because of these two things. Either they know it's wrong, but they do it anyway, because their desires are, they want it, their nafs. The soul is constantly going the wrong way towards evil. Or either they get confused and they think something is okay, when in fact it isn't. And somebody tells them it might be alright, when in fact it isn't. So this particular topic, she's just a friend, you could see it both ways. And when I say she's just a friend, by the way, it doesn't mean we're excluding the sisters from this talk. But sometimes we speak, kharaja makhraj al-ghalib. We just speak to the majority, like the brothers in front of me. And in front of me is Abdullah and Muhammad and Abdul Rahman. So I just talk to them, but we're not excluding the sisters from this. Because it could just be he's just a friend, she's just a friend, or he's just a friend. But the title is very clever, she's just a friend, because it could be either. Could be a person that in reality, when you said to him that, bro, she shouldn't be your friend, he says, you know what it is, bro, you're right. You're actually right. I agree with you. That's true. But you know what it is, it's just like that, and it's tough living in this country, and we just have to get on with it. He knows it's wrong, but he's doing it because his desires are telling him. And the person who says, what you mean, Akhi? How can you say this? What, you're telling me that I can't be friends with my cousin? Why? She's like my sister. And so on and so forth. So the person, they actually got confused. Shahawat and shubuhat. And we're going to talk about both of them bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. But we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to go back to the very beginning. So whenever you take a topic in Islam, you should try to take that topic from the beginning and take it slowly and try to understand it right from the beginning. So we're going to go right back to the beginning, and we're going to say this religion of Islam, it is a perfect religion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. Today I have completed your religion for you and finished my favor upon you and chosen for you Islam as your religion. This religion is perfect. absolutely perfect. Every single thing in it is good. Every single thing in it is beneficial. And one of the beautiful things about this Sharia is that this Sharia, it matches our nature. And it matches what's good for us. Because the one who created us, he's the one who knows what's good for us and what isn't. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He told us to stick to this religion in Surah Al-Rum, ayah number 30, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا. Turn your face towards the religion, make it for Allah alone. فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. This is the fitrah of Allah, the natural way that Allah has made people upon. He's created you like that. He's made you like that. لا تبديل لخلق الله. There's no change to the creation of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made you in a way, and He's made this religion for you, revealed this religion in a way that matches perfectly with human beings. It matches how we are, and it matches how our nature and how we normally are. ذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمُ. This is the right religion. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. But most of the people, they don't know. Most of the people have lost touch with what's normal and natural. So when you say to them something from Islam, they might say, إِنَّ هَذَا لَشَيْءٌ عُجَابٌ. This is really weird. What are you telling me about this? The boys and the girls, they don't mix. Now, هَذَا لَشَيْءٌ عُجَابٌ. This is something very, very strange you're telling me. We don't know something like this. This came from Islam? Because they lost touch with the nature. They lost touch with how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this religion for human beings perfectly for the way that they are. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about this in the Quran in numerous places, but I'll just give you a few. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَىٰ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ خَبِيرٌ. O mankind, we have created you men and women. And we've created you as nations and tribes. So you know one another. So from the fitrah of Allah, the natural way of Allah and the natural religion of Allah is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created men, and Allah azza wa jal has created women. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them different. وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنثَى. As the mother of Maryam alayhi salam, when she gave birth to Maryam, the mother of Isa alayhi salam, and she realized that it was a girl and not a boy, and she had planned for it to be a boy, and she had planned for the boy to go to the temple and to serve as a servant of Allah. When she gave birth to a girl, she said, قالت ربي إني وضعتها أنثى. Oh my Lord, I've given birth to a girl. والله أعلم بما وضعت. But Allah knew better what she gave birth to. وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنثَى. And boys and girls are not the same. And wallahi, this is the first point of the fitrah that we need to understand. Boys and girls are not the same. Both have got an equal opportunity for rewards. لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا وَلِلنِّسَاءِ نَصِيبٌ مِمَّا اكْتَسَبُوا. Boys have a chance to get reward, girls have a chance to get reward. No problem. But they're not the same, they're different. Physically, emotionally, the way they interact with each other is different. لَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنثَى. And Allah Azza wa Jal created them both. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's right and wrong in terms of the interactions that happen between them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indicated this, the way the Sharia mixes and matches with human beings and their nature. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, الَّذِي خَلَقَ فَسَوَّى وَالَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَهَدَى. Allah created everything and He gave everything its proper proportion. And Allah decreed everything and He guided you. The guidance here is not the guidance of Islam. The guidance here is general guidance. Allah guided you to be in the way that is natural for you, like people how to eat and how to drink and how to live, and just generally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided you how to get the most out of yourself as a human being. And there's no doubt, if this is the case, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows better what is going to be good for you, and He knows better what is going to be bad for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Doesn't the one who created you know better what's good for you? And He is al-Latif, subtle, al-Khabir, the one who knows everything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows better for us what is right for us. And sometimes we don't know for ourselves. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ. Maybe you like something, and maybe that thing that you like isn't good for you. Maybe you hate something, and maybe that thing is good for you. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. Maybe you dislike something and Allah puts so much good for it. So we as human beings are not very good at guessing and figuring out what is good for us and what isn't good for us. Sometimes we get it wrong. We have to trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is right for us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is best for us. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He said, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَن يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا مُبِينًا. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He said, it's not for a believing man, and especially the believers. Especially the believers who we are supposed to be Muslim, we're supposed to recognize that Allah knows better for us than we know for ourselves. It's not for a Muslim man, nor for a Muslim woman. If Allah and His Messenger decree something, that they should have any choice in it to do. You don't have a choice. If Allah told you something is haram, you can't go around and say, well, I think it should be halal. I don't think it's haram for me. I'm not sure why it's haram. I don't know whether I should do this. If Allah told you something is haram, you gotta understand that you don't have a choice. As a Muslim, you don't have a choice. Allah didn't say to you, it's haram, so if you want to do it or you don't want, if it's haram, you have to withhold from it. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger has indeed gone into a plain error, is astray, gone far away from the truth. One of the natural things, so we're going step by step. You guys with me so far, yeah? Guys, you young guys, you're paying attention, yeah? That we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one that created us and He knows what is best for us. And there's nothing haram in this religion except it's bad for you. Allah never made anything haram just for the sake of it like that. Everything Allah made haram for you, He made it haram because it's bad for you. And everything that Allah Azza wa Jal, He recommended you to do or He required you to do, He did it because it's good for you. Allah is Al-Ghani, He doesn't need you to worship Him. Allah Azza wa Jal told you what's good for you and He stopped you from what's bad. Sometimes we don't recognize it because we're like little children. Sometimes little children don't recognize what their parents tell them. Their parents tell them, you know, look, don't eat too many sweets, don't go out too late, don't do this, don't spend too long on the video games. And the person doesn't realize until he becomes older or she becomes older, and then when he or she becomes older, they say, ah, right, yeah, now I understood why is my mom and dad used to tell me to do that. More so with Allah, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. To Allah belongs the best example. If Allah Azza wa Jal told you to stay away from something, understand that whether you realize it or not, that is something bad. Okay, if we've understood this, then now we come to the topic of interactions between men and between women. So the first thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has placed certain women as being, or certain men and women, that their family relationship makes them close to each other, and they are free to interact with each other as they wish. With very little, only a few small rules. For example, how a person is with their mom, with their sister, with their mom's sister or their father's sister, or with their brother or sister's children, and so on. These very, very close people, and be careful, the cousin is not one of them. But these close people who have the mahram relationship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't put those same restrictions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that you can sit with them, you can meet with them, you can shake their hand, you can be with them alone, you can travel with them by themselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this because of how human nature is. That's how human beings are. Those women that are very close like that, the mom and the daughter, the sister and the mother's sister and the father's sister and so on, it's very, very different. The way people think is very, very different. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made that easy for people. And Allah doesn't want to make things hard for you. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. All of those other women that are not inside of that category, these are considered to be foreign to you, distant from you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was very strict about the way that we interact with them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that we have to lower our gaze. And He told the women they have to lower their gaze from the men. And He told the women that they had to يُدْنِينَ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ جَلَابِيبِهِنَّ. They have to take their clothing and wrap it all over their body in the hijab, with the jilbab, the abaya and everything. They had to cover their whole body from head to toe in front of those people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even didn't allow the woman to even knock her feet together to make a noise when it comes to those people that were strange or those people that were distant from each other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a lot of regulations and a lot of prohibitions in there. And we have to recognize that that is there for a benefit and for a wisdom. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا. If you want to go into a house, you don't go in through the window. If you want to go into a house, you go in through the door. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a way, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that there is a certain amount of attraction between men and those strange women. So Allah made a way that is halal to have an interaction between them. Allah Azza wa Jal made the institution of marriage. Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And from the signs of Allah is that He has created you wives from yourself. So a man, he takes one of these women that is outside of that circle of the mahram, and he takes her as a wife, and then everything that was haram for him becomes halal for that particular woman. And Allah Azza wa Jal makes them live together, and He makes them peaceful with each other. They find sakina with each other, sukoon, they're like happy with each other, they have a nice time together. And Allah has made between them love and mercy. He made them love each other. And notice here that Allah Azza wa Jal said that love comes from Allah Azza wa Jal. And He didn't say that love comes like they tell you in the movies. This guy just saw this girl and then he fell in love with her and then he started, مررت بالديار ديار ليلى أقبل ذا الجدار وذا الجدار. He started walking around the house kissing the walls. ما حب الديار شغفن قلبي ولكن حب من سكن الديار. He said, I didn't fall in love with the walls, but I fell in love with the girl inside the house. So he walked around the house kissing the walls. That's not how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that we're supposed to interact with people. Allah Azza wa Jal said that when you get married in the halal way, Allah will put that love there. Allah will put that mercy there. And there's ayat, many signs in this for the people who think. And there's a sign in this that Allah Azza wa Jal, He hasn't made anything haram, but He's giving you alternative. So He said, okay, these relationships with these women, you're not allowed to have them except through marriage. Okay, he made marriage easy for us. And someone might say, well, what's the point? You know, okay, we're not talking about the little kids. The little kids, fair enough. But we're talking about the teenagers now and the older guys. And they say, look, why do we need to have this? Why can't two people, the guy likes the girl likes the guy, why can't they just live together like that? Like the people in this country do, the non-Muslims in this country. Just agree to live together, what's the difference? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alluded to this when He said, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Men and women, they have in marriage rights over each other. The man has to do certain things for that woman, and she has to do certain things for him. There's a balance there. Unlike these guys that meet each other and just live together or go out for a while, boyfriend, girlfriend, he can dump her the next day, and usually he does. He can just leave her on the side of the street and do nothing for her. She can just go off with another guy the next night, and she can come back and say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't like you anymore. There's no rights, there's no care, there's no responsibility. Allah Azza wa Jalla is not saying you have to spend £50,000 on her. That's not one of the rights. Like it is in some of the Gulf countries where they pay a big mahar. It's not like that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you got to give her some rights, and she's got to give you some rights. There's got to be a certain framework. And when they have children, the children have rights as well. The children know who their mama are, know who their dad are. If you spend long enough in this country, you see kids on the street from the non-Muslims, they don't know who their mom or their dad is. They say, I don't know who, my mom doesn't know who my dad was. And then that child, everybody looks down on them, and people don't give them, they don't have a lot of respect, and their honor is down. And that lady, her honor goes down as well. They're like, oh, you're one of those people. That's not nice. And so, at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this there so that everybody is protected. That lady, she's protected, she's honored. She knows that she got married the legitimate way, in the right rules, and she has respect for that. And her children know who the mom is and the dad is, and they grow up in a house where people take care of them. Even if the mom and dad break up, but they have that respect for each other. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He allowed this, and He made the opposite of it extremely haram. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا إِنَّهُ كَانَ فَاحِشَةً وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا. Don't go near to having relationships outside of marriage. Because this is something fahisha, it's an evil, immoral, it's a dirty thing. وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا, it's an evil way of doing things. It's an evil way. Look how close, look at what Allah said here. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا. He didn't say, وَلَا تَزْنُوا, don't make zina. He said, don't even come near to it. So He said that anything that leads to wrong relationships outside of marriage is not allowed. Anything. Even friendships. Even friendships. So one of the things that we have to understand is that there's two groups of people here. There's people who are too young, and there's people who are at that age. The people who are too young, where they're not really at that age where people are taking boyfriends and girlfriends, those people, we say to you that you keep away from having those girls as friends so you don't get the habit when you're older. Because when you get older, even though now you're not interested, but 2 years, 3 years down the line, bad things happen. And for those people who are old enough, it's obvious that Allah Azza wa Jal prohibited anything that ends up in the wrong way. And this is a principle we call Saddul Dhari'a. We call it Saddul Dhara'i. Stopping or blocking the ways that lead to haram. Someone might say, look, as the topic said, she's just a friend. She's just a friend of mine. I don't see her in that way. She's my sister. I don't see her like that. But at the end of the day, this is a dhari'ah. It's a way that ultimately one day, if it's not today and it's not that girl, with another girl. Or if it's not you, it'll be your friend. If it's not him, it'll be someone else. If it's not her with you, it'll be her with somebody else. That something wrong is going to happen. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He's too merciful for that. He doesn't let you go down the road to the haram, and then when you get to the end of the haram, He says, no, it's haram. Allah Azza wa Jal says, don't turn right here, this whole road, it's just going to the haram. Maybe it's going to start out as, Assalamu alaikum, you okay sister, very happy to meet you. And maybe in the end it's going to end up in a relationship. Or maybe not you, nobody said it has to be you. But it might be her with somebody else because she sees you're a very nice friend and you're very nice and kind, and then she gets a friend with another guy, but that guy, he's not so nice as you and he's not so honorable as you, and so something happens from that. Or maybe you with somebody else, you say, oh, like how she and me, and we kept our distance and we were just friends. So I started just being friends with this other girl, and then Allah musta'an, things just broke up from there. And likewise, it might be the case that it happens to other people. Like somebody else sees you, your friend sees you and says, oh, you know, they kept it halal, they were just friends. They just used to message each other, they just met each other in school, they're very nice people. I'm going to do the same. And then he falls into the haram. So one way or the other, this street of just friends, it's going to lead to the haram. Even we say for the kids at young age, who are too young for this, we still say to them, don't mix with the boys and the girls who are not your mahram, who's not your sister, and your mom, and your auntie, and so on. Because when you do it when you're young, let's say you're 10 years old, and you start mixing around and you're just free with all those girls, what you're going to do at 12 years old when your dad says, I'm sorry, you can't talk to them anymore? You're going to feel down. You're going to feel like, what do you mean I can't talk to them anymore? What's wrong? What happened to her? Why can't I be friends? I was friends with her before. Why can't I be friends with her now? So it's better that a person starts learning from the beginning before they fall into the haram. And this is a mercy from Allah Azza wa Jal. This idea of blocking and stopping the roads that lead to the haram. And that's why Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, الذريعة الفعل الذي ظاهره أنه مباح وهو وسيلة إلى فعل المحرم. He said, there's something that seems to be alright. It seems to be halal. But when you follow it, it leads you to haram. It leads you to haram. And the human heart, it turns quickly. It turns quickly. And especially for the ladies. You know, you start off and somebody's just a friend, and then 2 minutes later, what happens? It's like, I think I really like him. I think I'm in love with him. And it keeps going from there. And then maybe a person does things that's like, it's a fadiha, they embarrass themselves in front of everybody. Like you see the boys and girls in school at a certain age, and he's like, I think I'm going to tell her that I really love her, you know, and I think I'm going to give her this gift, and they start doing all kinds of embarrassing things, and embarrassing themselves and other people, and maybe they fall into a big haram. Maybe not when they're 13, maybe when they're 15, maybe when they're 17, maybe when they're 19, but somewhere along the line, that road is only going one way. It's going to the haram. One way or another, that road is going to the haram. And when you go into the haram, Allah Azza wa Jal takes away the halal for you. So you see this person, when he goes into the haram, maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will just pull the halal away from him. So you see him, and he's been in some different relationships, and he had a couple of girlfriends, and he wants to get married. He says, you know, now I want to get married. And he sees he can't get married. And in his marriage, he's not happy, or he doesn't find the girl that he wanted, because he thought that he was, you know, he looked in the mirror and he saw himself to be something amazing. So he went to the girl that he wanted to marry and wanted it to be halal, and he said to her father that I want to marry your daughter, and the father said, look, I've heard about how you used to be. Someone like you doesn't marry my daughter. Iyaka anni, get out. Yani, you need to leave. That's what happens. Because he followed the haram, and then when he kept on following the haram, Allah Azza wa Jal might take the goodness from the halal away. So the situation is not an easy thing. And in this, I wanted to tell you a story. And it's a story from the Israeliyat, which means it's from Bani Israel. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَحَدِّثُ عَنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل وَلَا حَرَجْ. You can tell the stories of Bani Israel, and there's no harm in it. It's not something that came from the hadith that we know of, even though it is narrated in some hadith, but from what we can see, it came from the stories of the people before us. But it just illustrates how she's just a friend can turn into something really bad. And it's the story of a monk. And this monk, he was known for his piety and for his closeness to Allah. He was very close to Allah. And that's why sometimes when the brothers are thinking that I'm just talking to the shabab who are out, you know, maybe mixing with the girls. Now, subhanAllah, this can happen even to the speaker, the da'i, it can happen to. Even to the sheikh or the imam, it can happen to. That you have someone, this guy, he's a monk. And he knows these 4 brothers and they have a sister. And these 4 brothers, they're looking after their sister. And they go away and they say to him that we want you to look after our sister while we're away because you're the most pious one. You're the sheikh. So you look after our sister while we are away. When we come back, we take back care of her. And it said in the beginning that he used to go and he used to put food outside of her doorstep. Then he used to walk away. Then after a while she would open the door, she would come out and collect the food. And they didn't talk to each other. I bet you think it's so far so good, huh? No. He started down that road. So he said to himself, or the shaitan said to him, maybe you just put the food inside the doorstep. It's better if you open the door and you put the food inside, but then she doesn't have to go out in front of people and maybe nobody will see her. So he knocked on the door and he came to put the food inside. What happens next? Friendship, relationship, and they end up committing haram, committing zina. And she ends up pregnant. Now this guy who's supposed to be stopping the other people from hurting this lady, he's done the worst kind of thing that he could possibly do. But he doesn't stop there. Now he starts thinking of who? Himself. My reputation, what am I going to do? I've got a reputation. The sheikh, he's got a reputation. The people, he's the monk, the knowledgeable person in the village. Now, the people of the town, what they're going to find out? He had a relationship outside of marriage, he's got a child from outside of marriage. So he decides to take it one step further. And he decides he's going to kill her. So he kills her and he kills the child. Look at now where he's gone from. He went from putting food outside the house, now he's committed murder just to save his own reputation, to save his own self. And the narrations differ what happened to him. Some of them said that the brothers saw a dream and they saw that he was the one who did it, and they asked him to show where he had buried her and he showed them. But at the end of the day, look at how a person, and it's just a story from the Israeliyat, but the point is, look at how a person starts, and you don't know where you might be in a year's time. You start with, oh, I'm just a friend, and later on, the friendship becomes, yeah, it's okay because we're going to get married, so we're just talking to each other because, inshallah, we're going to get married. And a person fools themselves into thinking, yeah, I'll just talk to her so none of the other guys talk. And before long there's a relationship, and before long there's something else and something else. And look, it might take a person to the point where it said at the end of this monk, he disbelieved in Allah Azza wa Jalla. When he was put into the prison, that the shaitan came to him and said, I'll let you out of the prison on the condition that you disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he disbelieved in Allah and he was killed. And the shaitan said that he wants nothing to do with him. And some of them said this is the tafsir of the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal. يَمَثَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِذْ قَالَ لِلْإِنسَانِ كْفُرْ. When the shaitan said to the man, disbelieve. When he disbelieved, he said, I've got nothing to do with you. But in any case, we just need to realize the reality of the beauty of Islam and the way that Islam sorts our life out. Anything haram you can fall into, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stops you not from that haram. Allah stops you from anything which is going to lead to that haram. And be careful that the shaitan doesn't come to you. You say, yeah, I agree with you, Muhammad Tim, I'm going to stop it, like you said. And then the shaitan comes to him and says, just go into the sister's side and just give the sister a message. Just, inshallah, you can just give it the message to her and then you go. And then you see how that person might be in a year's time or in 2 years' time. And like we said, even though we've got some young kids here, the same applies, that you teach yourself. Like for example, someone might say, why should I keep my young kids away from girls, for example, or girls and boys mixing when they're only 8 years old or 9 years old? We say to them, if your son is not mukallaf, he's not required to follow the sharia, do you teach him not to lie? You say, yeah, we don't let him lie. Do you let him disrespect his parents? They're like, no, we don't let him disrespect his parents. Why? He's not mukallaf. He's not sinful. He's not sinful. Why don't you let him lie? Why don't you let him disrespect his parents? Why don't you let him do things that are other things that are haram? Why don't you let him steal? he hasn't reached adulthood. They say, no, if we teach him like this, he's gonna, number one, we're gonna get the sin as parents of him doing wrong, and number two, he's gonna grow up like that. And that's exactly the reason why we say, with the younger kids, we try and from a young age, obviously there's an age when it's too hard. Little babies and toddlers, it's difficult to keep it like that. But when a person gets to that age where they recognize the boys and the girls, we try to keep them in a state where they're mostly, the boys are with the boys. And if the odd time, when they're young, they mix together, inshallah, it won't harm them. But you teach them good habits, so that when they get to 15 or 16, they kept those good habits with them. And for those brothers who are at that age, where they have an eye for the ladies, or those ladies who are at the age where they have the eye for the men, we say to them, Wallah, if you were to have sabr, you'll see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you. Allah Azza wa Jalla will give you better than you could imagine. But you just have to be patient for that small time. But also, likewise, the parents have to help as well. Because some of our parents have got issues in this. Like when we say to the parents that, look, your son is a young man, and he wants to get married, and they're like, yeah, let him finish his PhD, and buy a house, and have a car, and so on. So in other words, let him do every kind of haram, and then when he's got no more energy to do the haram, we'll get him married. That's not good enough. We have to help our young people to do things the halal way, so we don't let them do things the haram way. And some will say, well, what about my friend, my really good friend Fatima, who I really like? How am I going to tell her that I don't want to be a friend anymore? It's not that difficult. Replace something with halal. So, for example, if there's some guys and they've got a mixed group of boys and girls, they're friends, let the girls go and relax with each other and hang out with each other, and let the boys go and hang out with each other. Make a natural, break in it. And talk to them. If you want, tell them, say to them that, look, it's not that I don't like you, it's not that I don't want to be your friend, but it's just that, look, this is not the right way, and it's not right. It's not right in Islam, and I don't want to be like that anymore. I want to change. I want to go about things the right way before Allah puts me somewhere that is much worse. And inshallah ta'ala, over time, this person will be able to correct themselves. And those friends that they had, they can easily, let's be honest, in these days, one easy thing it's easy to change friends. It's very easy. Like we live in a time where changing friends is just a single Instagram post away, or a single Snapchat message away. You can change friends like that. It's easy. Just deselect, select that one, unfollow that one, follow that one. It's very easy to swap your friends around in these days. It's not difficult. So inshallah ta'ala, it's easy for a person not to step down on that road. And like we say, a lot of different ages in the room, but everybody can take something from this. That we keep the boys with the boys and the girls with the girls until they get to that age where they're ready to get married and they choose one. And inshallah, Allah Azza wa Jal will bless them in it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put barakah for them, and Allah Azza wa Jal will give them increase. Now, one or two more points I wanted to mention just at the end. Some of the older people, maybe even already married, but they might say, well, what about work? Work is a problem. Because they say when I'm at work, I have my female colleagues at work and I can't really avoid them. Or someone at school, he says, what about the female classmates at school? And I'm presuming he can't change to all boys school or whatever. Obviously that would be the obvious thing, but I'm presuming he can't do that. So now we say there's a difference between a friend and between dealing with someone professionally. So for example, when you go to the bank to put money into the bank, you go to the bank and you stand at the counter, and there's a lady at the counter, you give her the money, say, I'd like to put this into my account, please. There you go. She takes the money and you go. How many of you have ever walked up to the counter at the bank and said, hey, you okay? You got nice eyes. Can I have your number? Never. You never did this before. You just behave like a normal professional person. So behave the same way with the other women that are around you in school. Professionally, go and say, for example, the teacher said you've got to get the notes from them, say, Assalamu alaikum, can I have the notes from you, please? Jazakallah khair. And go. You don't just stare in their eyes, you don't need to take their phone number, you don't say like, maybe I'll message you later about schoolwork. You need to go down that route. The same at work. You have a lady at work, you don't need to be in their face like that. You just go and do professionally what you need to do and you walk away. You don't need to be that person who is interacting in that level. You know, like that's why I said nobody required you to be friends with the people at work like that. Nobody required you to be friends with the people at school like that. People just be kind, be nice. No one said be horrible, right? Be friendly, be nice, but know your limits. And it's all about the body language and the way you present yourself. It's all about the body language, the way you present yourself. Sometimes people, just the way that they sit and the way that they behave and the way they look, their eyes and their body and their face, it tells you something about the way they are. So it's very important that when you're in this situation at school or at work and there's members of the opposite gender, you don't give out the wrong signals, like they say. Just keep it simple. Yeah, sure, whatever you need. You need me to write an email? There you go, send. That's it. You don't need to have that friendship and that, you know, can I ask you about your life and are you single and all that stuff. You don't need to know about that. من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. From the perfection of a person's faith is leaving something that doesn't concern him. You don't need to know about that girl, about her family background and is she married or not and where she come from and what is she doing tonight and all of that stuff. You don't need to know that. You needed to interact. For the minimal, you need to do your work and you go. And if you can change the job or the school, that would be better. But even if you can't, change the way you mix with people. Just be civil. Don't be rude. Because when you're rude, nobody likes you. And then also when you're rude, it brings a lot of negatives upon you. But just interact with people in a sensible, limited way. And the same goes, the same thing I'm saying is the same thing I say for myself. Because it's not like, oh, now you become a teacher in the masjid, all the rules don't apply to you. You can go wherever you like, you can go and sit, you can go and have meetings, you can go and be alone. Khalwa, being alone with a woman. Allah, the same rules apply to everybody. And that's the beauty of Islam. They apply to everyone because everyone could make a mistake and slip up in this. So this is what I wanted to present to you from this topic of she's just a friend, so that we get rid of these shahawat and shubuhat. The doubts and the desires people have, the doubts where people think, how can it be haram? وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. Don't even come near, don't even go down the road that leads you there. And likewise, so that we don't follow our desires and we become like the person Allah Azza wa Jalla said about them, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you seen the one that took his desires as his God? So he started following his desires and he didn't care about what Allah made halal or what Allah Azza wa Jalla made haram. So inshallah ta'ala, that is the end of my presentation on the topic of she's just a friend. So hopefully this is something we can all rectify in our lives, whatever our ages and marital status and all of those different things, from the young kids among us to the adults among us to the married, the unmarried. We can all solve this problem and be a little bit better in our interactions between men and between women, that there's no mahram relationship between them. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that would be something that will bring us nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and save us from an su' al-khatimah, the bad end that some people go through when they fall into these issues. And Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. Wa salatu wa salam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
Barakallahu feek, wa jazakallahu khair, wa nafa'allahu bik, wa zadakallahu ilma wa nura. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward our dear Ustad Muhammad Tim Humble. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless him. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you all and grant you Jannah for listening and being patient. Inshallah, we will have a proper question and answer after Salatul Isha. And after Salatul Isha, there will be the final reminder for today, which will be titled Alcohol and Gambling, if I'm not mistaken. So inshallah, there is just one question here, maybe the Sheikh can help us out with, which is, if a person is interested in marrying a sister, they say, how is then the proper way, if I can't talk to her, how is the proper way of speaking to her?
Okay, that's a beautiful question. And that's a question that I have a video on it, like a whole video on it. It's called Looking for Love. And maybe if you want to, I'll summarize a couple of points. But if you want to really know the answer, probably if you go to YouTube and you type in Tim Humble or Muhammad Tim, whichever you want, and you type in looking for love, then there's a long discussion on this. But the most important thing is that you go about it in an honourable way that preserves your honour and her honour. Like I said, وَأْتُوا الْبُيُوتَ مِنْ أَبْوَابِهَا. If you're going to go to the house, don't go through the upper window. You don't climb up the drain pipe and go in through the window. Go through the door. The door to that girl is her father, her wali. So you do things the right way, the righteous way. Yes, if you want to find out a bit about her before you go to her father, you can do that. If you look at her and you believe that before you look at her, you believe that you're only looking at her for marriage, and you believe that her family would accept your proposal, not you're on the walls of Buckingham Palace looking for a princess, yeah? You're looking at somebody who you believe their parents would accept you, and you look at her for as long as you need to find out that you think she's going to be a good prospect for marriage. You can find out some stuff about her. But the most important thing is that you don't do something that would bring dishonor upon you or upon her. You go to this house through the door, which is the wali. And that means even if you don't approach the wali yourself, maybe your father could approach her father, or if it's not, you're not comfortable with that, maybe another older person from the community or the imam or whatever could approach that family and do it in the right way. And wallah, if you do it in the right way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put barakat min as-samai wal ard, any blessings from the heavens and the earth that you can't imagine when you do things the right way. And that way preserves the honor. And look at how much the father is going to respect you when he finds out that you didn't go about it the wrong way. It's like, look, I have heard about your daughter that she might be looking to get married, and I'm looking to get married. I haven't spoken to her. However, I would like to ask you if it's something you would consider. He's going to have so much respect for you. It's going to be like, subhanallah, this girl really cares about my daughter because he didn't go about this the wrong way. He did this the right way. And he's going to give that consideration. And if he doesn't give it consideration, because sometimes some of the parents are a bit, they're not thinking Islamically sometimes. So sometimes if he doesn't, you have an option. The option is not to run away with her. The option is you go to the sheikh, to the imam, to the qadi, and you ask him to fix the problem for you. And he goes then to the father and tries to convince him and so on. There's a lot of options after that. But you don't ever go the wrong way. Because when you go about something the wrong way, it brings about dishonor to you. And the Sharia came to protect your honor. You bring about dishonor upon yourself, and even worse, you bring about dishonor upon that girl. And it may end up that she couldn't get married in the future, not to you or anyone else, because you give her a bad reputation for something she didn't ever do, because you went about it the wrong way. You tried to go the wrong road. Can Allah Azza wa Jalla.
Barakallahu feekum wa ahsan ilaykum. Inshallah, nafa'allahu bikum. We will end there, inshallah. We'll have a quick break until Salatul Isha, which will be at 6 inshallah. Until that time, please brothers, make sure that you do not mess around too much with your water bottles, because they're really distracting for the speaker. And just put them in front of you if you want to drink them. And once they're finished, please throw them in the bin. There will be bin bags inshallah provided. So throw them properly inshallah in the bin bag, because nobody's going to clean and tidy up after you. Jazakumullah khair. Barakallahu feekum, and we see you next time. Just to remind everyone, inshallah, as I mentioned, after Salatul Isha there will be another lecture. After Salatul Isha there will be another lecture.
And then